you taking part in this class. This is a dear friend of mine, Angie Christopherson, which I hope you give her your undivided attention. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask her. She is here to be your friend. Thank you. Take your pick.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous, so don't let the nerves, try not to let them get to me. But so today we are going to be talking about fentanyl and fake pills. I'm going to try not to just read directly off my notes here, but we'll see how that goes. I'm going to share a couple stories of some real kids that I know that have the same story as my son Tristan. I'm also going to share some how to stay safe and keep your friends safe. And then a lot of the data that I have comes from an organization called Song for Charlie. So Charlie was a 22-year-old who got what he thought was a Percocet pill, and it was fentanyl. He died from that, and his parents started the organization Song for Charlie in his memory. So we're gonna kind of just talk about what fentanyl pills are, and this is a little video I'll share. Hopefully the sound comes through okay.
You've heard about pills killing young people, right? A teenager takes what they thought was a prescription pill and never wakes up. We're not talking about a drug overdose, accidental or otherwise. We're talking about being fatally poisoned by a single pill, one that looks like a legit Xanax or Percocet or Oxycontin. Except these pills aren't legit. They're counterfeit, fake. They can kill you within minutes. And it's happening all around you. The fastest growing group of victims is young and inexperienced. They take pills for different reasons. Some of them are experimenting. Others are stressed out and self-medicating. Many victims died at home in their beds after swallowing just one pill. Every young person is at risk. So what's going on? We've been in a quick fix, pill-popping culture, and we've been taught to trust prescription pills. In some cases, these medications are necessary, but they can also cause addiction. That's why we're in the midst of an opioid epidemic. So many people in the US became addicted to opioids that drug dealers started making fake pills to meet demand. The active ingredient of choice for these counterfeit pills? Fentanyl, a powerful synthetic opioid that's so potent it has to be highly regulated. There's no standard amount of fentanyl in these illegally made pills. They're not prescription medications. They're just thrown together in people's basements and garages with other cheap ingredients like filler powder and pressed into pill form. The dosage is never even. That's why they're so deadly. But fentanyl can be cheaply imported, and it's also highly addictive, which makes it ideal for creating fake pills. The drug cartels got involved too. They started to produce these counterfeit prescription pills containing fentanyl, known as fentanyls, on a massive scale, flooding the US with millions of fakes dressed up to look like the real thing. You can't tell them apart. Authorities can't fix this or make it go away, but you don't have to be the next victim. If you don't know where your pills are coming from, don't take them. Don't believe sellers on Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, or any app. Don't believe friends who get pills from supposedly reliable dealers. Don't believe someone who says a pill has been tested. You may have heard of test strips that can detect fentanyl in illegally made drugs, but they're not reliable with pills, where fentanyl can be unevenly distributed. There's no way to figure out whether a pill contains fentanyl without grinding it up and dissolving it. In other words, destroying it. So if a drug comes to you in pill form, it hasn't been tested, period. And even if you test one pill in a batch, you have no way of knowing whether the other pills contain fentanyl. If it's not from a doctor or pharmacist, it's not legit. No random pills. Now you know the facts. Tell your friends, tell everyone you know. The more people who learn about fentanyls, the safer we're all going to be. You didn't create this problem, but part of the solution. Help us spread the word. One pill can kill.
I forgot how long that video was, but, so that kind of summarizes everything that I'm gonna go through today. So first, what is fentanyl? Well, it's a painkiller like morphine or oxycodone, but it's 100 times more powerful than morphine and 50 times more powerful than heroin, both of which are extremely powerful. It's synthetic, meaning that it's produced in labs, not from plant materials, so there's never an ending of the supply. When created in a pharmaceutical lab and dispensed by a doctor, it is very effective for pain management and sedation. It's very highly regulated. The fentanyl on the street and through social media and fake pills is made with no quality control, so there's no oversight, there's no, it's inconsistent and extremely deadly. So I'm gonna share 2 stories of very real kids. The first one, this is my son Tristan.
Keep going. Take your breath. Good job. Oh, are you gonna get daddy? Should we do toppings above the cheese or below the cheese? Below the cheese? We can always do both.
Can't see it, but he's cutting up a pie in this video.
Struggle.
Most spoiled cat in the world.
Happy birthday, dear Tristan.
So this is Tristan. Tristan grew up in Arizona. He was an amazing person and son. But his most favorite thing was being a big brother, to that one right there. And he was the best big brother ever. He was always teaching, guiding, protecting, and cheering on Johnny. He loved to bake, so he was cutting up a pie in that video. He always made homemade pies and breads and pizza dough, and there was always a mess of flour on the counter every weekend. He loved that cat, that's Leo, most spoiled cat in the world. We call him King Leo because Tristan spoiled him so much. He was a 4.1 honor roll student and aspired to go to college. Sadly, that did not happen. In May of 2021, his dad and I walked into his room and found him unresponsive. So we performed life-saving measures and paramedics arrived. He made it to the hospital, but unfortunately, he had suffered severe brain damage from a lack of oxygen and later passed away. He was 16 years old. We later found out he had taken just half of what he believed was a Percocet pill, but the only thing in his system was fentanyl. There was no Percocet or anything else. I'm going to share another video of a kid named Zach. Zach lived in California. So Zach, he grew up in California. His mom is one who shared a lot of these resources with me. He was also a straight A student and a star athlete. He was in track and a drama student and an Eagle Scout. He also, like Tristan, bought a Percocet pill, what he thought was a Percocet pill, but it was fentanyl, and he died in his bed. He leaves behind a brother and a sister and his parents and friends. So this crisis is impacting all types of kids, often without any warning signals, warning signs. So why should you care? You might not know that you're taking it, which puts you at extreme risk. So most of the kids that died didn't know they were taking fentanyl. They thought it was Percocet or some other types of pills that aren't nearly as strong. Most of what's available on the streets or online are fake pills that are made with fentanyl. It's being mixed into virtually all street drugs and pressed into fake counterfeit pills. So assume that anything that you get online or from a friend is fake and possibly deadly. So how are these pills made? Medical fentanyl and real prescription pills are made in a highly regulated lab using precise measurements and sterile equipment. Legitimate pills are made with strict quality control and sanitary conditions and can be trusted when prescribed by a doctor. This image on the right is an actual lab that was seized in Canada. So counterfeit pills are made in dirty operations, they're unregulated, they use rough measurements and improper tools, and the people making them only care about quantity, not the quality. It's all about profit to them. So why are fentanyls deadly? Because like I said, there's no quality control, and no two counterfeit pills are the same, so the amount can vary widely. One might have a lot of fentanyl, while another might not have very much at all. So the chocolate chip cookies you can think of it like making chocolate chip cookies. One cookie might have a ton of chocolate chips in it, the other might not. Even in the same cookie, you might get like one bite that has a ton of chocolate chips and another bite that doesn't really have very many. So it's very inconsistent. And how are fentanyls sold? They're pretty easy to get. Some kids have gotten them easier than it would take to order pizza and have that delivered to you. So they're sold on social media and neighborhood streets, at the park, the mall, and even in schools. They're sold under the name of Percocet, Xanax, Adderall, other names of pills. But in reality, they don't have any of those in them. They just have fentanyl. So this picture on the right is an actual picture of a social media drug menu. So on applications like Snapchat, messages disappear, and it's an easy way for drug dealers to sell things without getting caught. So don't believe these menus. Assume that fentanyl is in anything that you get online. And drug dealers are misrepresenting their product and also saying that they were tested when they're not tested. So this picture just shows you that you can't really tell which of these pills is real and which is not. They look like legitimate pills. So this slide shows how the fentanyl crisis has developed from 2012 to 2022. The yellow represents the fentanyl. And the bottom line is the age range, so 14 up to 25. Kids have been dying at younger ages than that even. So I had a grandmother share her story the other day of losing a 10 and 14-year-old grandson and granddaughter. They left behind their 13-year-old sister, and yeah, so it's happening at all different ages. So who are fake pills killing? All of these young people, and I've got pictures over here, and this is just a very, very small amount of the kids that that I know most of these kids' parents. Unfortunately, there are a couple hundred of these types of banners out there, and those are just the parents that are on social media putting their kids' pictures out there. There are hundreds more. On the screen here, you see Luca. He was 13. He lived in California. He was playing video games and was complaining about some pain from having oral surgery, and a 19-year-old drug dealer offered to sell him a Percocet and even delivered it to his house. He took the pill and died in his bedroom, and that was the day before he was to start 8th grade. Zachariah, he's from Arizona. He's a football star. He was only 17. Olivia is from New York. She was 15, left behind a little brother. Danielson, or Dennis, was on his way home from college when he died. He leaves behind 2 younger sisters. And then we've got Ethan over here, who's 20, in Tennessee, just in Springfield. This is his mother, Lori, over here. So it's happening all across the country to kids of all ages, all races, all backgrounds. There's no discrimination at all. So can I take my friend's pills? No, sharing pills isn't just illegal, it's dangerous. So Isaiah, this is Isaiah, he died in California, but his mother was also from Arizona. He died surrounded by friends with whom he shared pills with. They thought he fell asleep. They didn't recognize the symptoms of an overdose, and they didn't call for help until it was too late to save him. And he was just 15 years old. So what about pills that say they've been tested? Well, to efficiently use test strips, the entire pill would need to be crushed up and tested. It would be impossible to know if the other pills in the same bag would test the same way, so no one can sell you pills that have been tested. So if anybody tells you that they're tested, it's just not true. This slide shows that there are less teens today that are actually using drugs, but of those that are using drugs, more and more have been dying because of fentanyl. And this kind of goes back to that last video that we showed, showing the increase in fentanyl deaths. So this video is going to show, or kind of explain what an overdose looks like, so you can be aware.
The big 3 signs of an opioid overdose, such as one from fentanyl, are slow to no breathing, unconsciousness, and pinpoint pupils. How you can check for those 3? For slow to no breathing, you're going to place your hand on the person's chest to feel for the rise and fall of their breath. You can also place your hand under their nose or over their mouth and feel for their warm breath. To check for unconsciousness, you're going to start by shouting the person's name and asking if they can hear you. If they don't respond to you verbally engaging with them, you're going to cause some painful stimuli. To do that, you're going to give them what's called a trap pinch. You're going to pinch the corner between their neck and their shoulder as hard as you can. If you try that on yourself, it hurts. So if you do that to somebody who might be overdosing, they're not going to respond. The 3rd sign that you're going to check for, which is the telltale sign of an opioid overdose, is pinpoint pupils. So how you're going to check for that? You can use a flashlight like the one on your smartphone. The person's probably going to be unconscious, so you're going to lift their eyelid and shine the flashlight into their eye for 3 to 5 seconds. When you move the flashlight away, normal people, you will see their pupil get bigger when the light is no longer in their eye. Someone with a fentanyl overdose, their pupil is going to remain pinpoint, very tiny in the middle of their eye.
It is absolutely critical that you call 911 when somebody is overdosed, because that makes sure that they get the medical attention they need, and that could very much save their life. Many states have what's called a Good Samaritan law, which protects people who call 911 when they're in the possession of drugs from being arrested for having those drugs in the moment, because these laws are meant to encourage people to do the right thing when someone's overdosing.
So we do have the Good Samaritan law here in Tennessee. So if you're ever in that situation and you call 911, you don't have to be scared of getting in trouble. When it comes to saving somebody's life, that should be very important, and shouldn't worry about getting in trouble. So here's another short video. It talks about Narcan, which is how you can treat an overdose.
Narcan is an opioid blocker. It's going to go into the bloodstream and knock any opioid off of the receptor. And it's going to reverse that overdose so that that person has a chance at life. We're using the term Narcan, which is a brand name. The actual generic is naloxone, and there are many brands. The side effects of intranasal naloxone or Narcan, if somebody was not actually overdosing, the chance of having a serious health problem as a result are very small.
This is what Narcan looks like. If you're ever in a situation where you're going to administer Narcan, you should have already called 911. To administer Narcan itself, all you have to do is take it out of the package. It looks like this. You're going to insert the plunger into the person's nose, either nostril, and then press the pink button down. After that, you're going to want to clock about 2 minutes. The person should respond to the Narcan within those 2 minutes. If they're unconscious and not breathing, you will literally see them go and begin breathing again. If that doesn't happen within the first 2 minutes, continue doing that every 2 minutes until the person responds. If they don't respond after 3 doses, you're going to want to start giving rescue breaths.
One more thing to remember about Narcan is that anytime it's given, a person needs to go to the hospital. Opioids can last longer than Narcan. So the Narcan might reverse the overdose initially, and then the Narcan wears off, and guess what's still in your bloodstream? The opioid. Can find those receptors and they can re-OD.
Narcan and naloxone in general is now approved over the counter. Everyone should be trained in how to recognize and respond to an overdose.
So we didn't have Narcan, we didn't know about Narcan when Tristan died. So we didn't have any of that. We now have it in our house. We have several of them in our house. I looked up a website and I don't remember what it is right now, but I'll share it later, where you can get Narcan for free. So I'll share that with anybody who is interested. So why haven't you heard about this before? We didn't know about fentanyl when we lost Tristan. We talked to him about other worries like dangerous behaviors when doing drugs or addiction, things like that impacting your schoolwork. Those are all still very valid worries and still exist today. But drug experimentation is a lot different. It's like a minefield now. You can encounter a deadly pill within your first or second use. And many parents might not understand this change because they didn't have to worry about that when they were teenagers. So being a teenager, I know can be hard. I know it was a long time ago for me, but I do remember it can be really hard. A lot of pressure with schoolwork and fitting in and making friends, sports, all of that. It's a lot to cope with. So why do some people use drugs? Maybe anxiety, depression, that peer pressure, bullying, all different things. But there are healthier ways to cope with all of that. So some of those things might be like counseling or therapy, going to church, hobbies, talking with your friends or family. I don't know if anybody has other ideas, if you guys want to talk about that right now, like something that you would do instead of drugs. Play with pets, swim with pets. And then if medication is needed, just make sure that you consult with your doctors. So what should you take away from this? The takeaways from this presentation are don't take random pills. Always get medication from a doctor. Don't trust other pills, even if they say they've been tested. Know how to use Narcan and call 911 if you suspect an overdose. And take care of your physical and mental health, and then spread the word to keep yourself and your friends safe. So they say that knowledge is power, so now you have the knowledge, so you are safer now, and if you spread the word, you can help your friends be safer as well. The organization Song for Charlie has a great peer-to-peer program that you can sign up on to help spread awareness. So you can either scan this QR code, I'll keep this up after presentation, or you can reach out to me and I'll give you the details for doing that. And then Song for Charlie also has ways to follow them on social media. So Song for the number Charlie on Instagram, Song for Charlie everywhere else. And then I set up an Instagram page for Tristan. It shares fentanyl awareness information as well as just random pictures and videos of Tristan. So you can follow that. And I'll go back to this one if anybody wants to scan this later. So I kind of flew through this. I think I went really fast through this. So, and I feel like I was pretty monotone. But does anyone have any questions or anything that you want to talk about?
How long ago was it? Because you said you were 16, so how long has it been since you lost your son?
Been a little over 3.5 years. So it was in May that we found him and he went to the hospital. He was at a children's hospital, so they wanted to wait and see if he would recover. So it was 4 weeks of us waiting and seeing if he would recover. And yeah, it was a really hard balance of balancing Johnny and our lives and being there with Tristan too. So it was June 8th that he passed away, and he'd be 20 now. So his birthday was in November.
And do you mind sharing about Ethan? How long ago since Ethan?
Probably about 26 months ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
we just came across a 2-year mark. But, you know, he's just a funny kid. Just, you know, great student, graduated high school in 2020, pretty much halfway through his associate's degree in college. So when we lost him, he would have, in December, he would have graduated from Austin P in May. He was 7 hours away from class, from his graduation. So we went up there, you know, they gave us a diploma, and, but, you know, it's not just children that you think are like, oh, you know, they do drugs, or they do this, or they do that, you know, they're a pothead or that. It's these really good kids like you that can just get lost here. My daughter, I didn't even, you know, it never even fazed her, because Emma takes Adderall, and she's got a little bit of learning disabilities and stuff, but I literally had to say, if you forget your Adderall today, you cannot take your friends. And I think I maybe a light bulb went off, but I can't do that. But it's out there. We're in Coopertown, we're here in Portland. You know, these small towns, it's not gonna happen to me, but it's there. And I think the last I have read, we're looking at about 302 million deaths in this country. I will be hosting a walk in Springfield in September. You're all welcome. You'll probably see some things. But
I'll make sure to share it
thank
on
you.
my page.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
please make
But
sure
yeah,
that-
just get out and spread awareness. I mean, you just got to know about it, because I didn't know about it. Y'all didn't know about it. But it's out there, and it's in everything. So, thank you for asking.
Yeah. Have you guys heard about it? Like, before we taught this class, have you ever known?